Do you like women's sports? Sports across the gender spectrum? How about you're sick of men's sports? Well, that's what we're here to talk about.
On this show, we work to level the sports coverage across the gender spectrum.
Welcome to Balance Sports.
I'm Honor.
I'm Jewelz.
Let's get into it.
Oh, well, we've got a new set.
New location alert.
Upgrade. Wow.
Ooh.
Ah.
Let's start with around the league. And we're going to start with the All-Star starters.
The All-Star conundrum. How were you able to get through the maze to read who was the starters?
Do they typically do co-captains? That feels
like
new
the
to
Sue
me.
and Sylvia?
Yeah.
No, I think that was an afterthought this year to be like, they're retiring. We should do something, right? Felt like an afterthought.
It feels confusing, and people on the internet were like, what? I don't understand, which I agree. I think it was just unnecessary. I also think you could have just named them the captains. Like, you know, it's like, yep, this is their last year. They are prolific athletes. They are the captains. You could have just done that. I think the co-captains is a little silly.
I agree. I don't necessarily hate all the things they're doing. I just think it's how it was done. I think that Sue and Sylvia should have just been the captains, and then we were told that Asia and Stewie won the fan vote kind of thing. I feel like 4 captains, just the release was weird. It was like our 2 captains, Stewie and Asia, and then their co-captains based on this, and then they'll pick the starters out of the other 6 players. I was like, wait a second. I feel like I was doing a jigsaw puzzle.
It feels like sometimes the WNBA does things that's like hasn't been run through like a focus group.
No one sifted a single one of those ideas. It's like, what if we just made Sue and Sylvia the thing, type up an email, they release it on Twitter. Moments later, there was never, it was like, the logistics of it all, how it plays out, I don't know. Anywho, the starters. Shocked by a couple. Not shocked, it's just not who we picked.
Correct. I did not pick Sabrina.
Neither did I.
I also, and I was wrong for this, I will say that full-throatedly, I did not pick Jonquel Jones either.
She was on mine.
Let's she roll it back.
Definitely like roll it back. I have Stewie, NECA, Asia, Big Sil, Candace, Elena. Asia, Jackie, Skylar, Ariel Atkins. I didn't have Sue.
I didn't have Sue. I also knew that Sue would get there.
Facts.
Like, she didn't need my vote.
I didn't know she was going to be a starter.
She did.
I didn't. Do you think she would have was she in the running to be a starter before she announced her retirement?
Ooh.
Was she into the top 4? I'm not saying that it's like what pushed her over, but
I think it is what you're saying.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I said that. I don't know if she was in the top 4. I don't feel like she was when we did this last time. I know she was like top 6 or 7. She wasn't far off. But I'm wondering if that just boosted.
It definitely boosted. I think she probably would have been a starter regardless, because it's like I think everyone knew that this was going to be her last year, and then she confirmed it, and it was like, well, definitely. So
yeah. I mean, it'll be a fun game.
It'll be a fun game.
It is what it is. Let's get into who are the starters. Let me read it off. Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Sylvia Fowles, NECA, Jonquel, Candace. And then the starting guards will be Sue Bird, Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, and Jacqueline Young.
And it's not broken down by division.
Nope.
So the captains will choose their teams, correct? Like these starters, and then we don't know who the reserves are yet as of taping.
Voting will now begin for the 12 reserves, which will be selected by the league's head coaches and will be announced on Tuesday, June 28th. Another part of this that I found really interesting was you have fan vote, media vote, player vote. And there was some telling stories on the player votes.
Go ahead and drag SDS.
B. Terrell shared on Twitter what the voting breakdown for each one of those 3 categories was. Skylar Diggins-Smith was voted, I'm going to say, in the top 5 or 6 in the media and in the fans.
Yeah.
Mama was 13th in the player ranking. I had to laugh. First of all, I mean, she has tweeted herself this year, I'm strong enough to play the villain. And she's getting tested early.
Prove it.
Yeah, you want to be the villain, you're 13th best at your position in the league.
Do you believe that to be true?
Absolutely not. But it's really telling to me that your peers think that. Do you think that's true? I think she's played better than 13th. She has been the best player on that team this year.
Yeah, way better than that. I'm wondering if her complaining about the refs, if, the faces, if that's like, she's not as good. But, or if it's just like, I don't like her. Maybe it's just that,
I think those two things can be married, and that probably is some of the reason why. Yeah, I just read it like that, like just a lack of respect. If my peers are voting me that low and I think I'm higher, they either don't like me or
They haters.
They
are haters. That's what that says to me.
Really?
Yes, because look at my numbers. Look at my production. I am the best player on this team right now. You hating. That's what that says. Absolutely.
But
why does media and the fans think otherwise? For 6th and 13th, that's a pretty big jump.
It really is. Maybe,
I think 10th, maybe okay, we're in the ballpark. 13th? Disrespectful.
I thought the same. When I saw 13th, I was like, so your peers think that there's at least one guard on every team and 2 on another that are better than you. Like, there's 12 teams in the league, mama. You wouldn't even make the starting lineup if we were picking point guards and going down a draft. That was a little telling. I think it can be a mixture of like, I'm going to say this without getting dragged.
Are you?
No. If you're doing all this complaining and being that vocal and your peers are voting you that low, that tells me, but you're still accomplishing a lot on the court, right? Like we were just saying she's better than that. That just tells me that everyone else is antsy in it. That they're like, you could be doing something different, or that's still not even valuable, or maybe like you're still crushing it statistically, but that's not what we look for in this. I don't know. I just thought like disrespectful is a great word. It's not cute. It's not a good look. Any more starters talk?
Yes, but we're going to go in a different direction and take one of the starters, this Jonquel Jones article from ESPN. I guess we should give who wrote it.
Katie Barnes.
There's a lot of really, really good things in this here article.
Incredible. I am now the biggest Jonquel Jones fan.
So I just got a new plant, and its name is Jonquel Jones.
But that to me exactly showed the importance of articles like this. They're like, she is ready for you to know who she is. We are big WNBA fans. We clearly knew who Jonquel Jones was before this, but the aspect of just like it's who you put the machine behind. Like she has been an MVP. She has been a huge personality in this league, one of the best players in the world for years. And it is taking someone writing a story about how little we know about her to find information about her.
Yep. This article is titled Jonquel Jones and the Untold Story of the WNBA's Reigning MVP. She was also Most Improved Player. Was she 6th Woman of the Year as well?
Yep.
The article really breaks down that she's won damn near every accolade she could win.
Yes. Yeah, so let's get into it. What were some of your favorite pieces from this Katie Barnes article?
I appreciated the honesty that Jonquel Jones had in a lot of these things. Like I felt like they were asking her questions. The questions were asked to like steer in a way that they would like help out what the story was going to be about and
unveil some of the onion, if you will.
Yeah, I just enjoyed like hearing her story, how she grew up and had to kind of like suppress who she was and wasn't able to come out, how she moved to the US and, had different like collegiate experience. Now, knowing that she went to George Washington, kind of talking about, I appreciated hearing how her perspective on, I don't have a college maybe necessarily behind me like a UConn or a South Carolina. That fan base isn't lifting me up. So there's one strike against me. I'm a gay, black, masculine presenting woman. There's like 8 strikes right there on my marketing ability. And then I saw the tweet a while back that she did that was just like, you really have to, she was essentially saying like, if you want to be a star in the NBA on marketing, you can be a great player, and that does the rest.
End of sentence.
If you want to be a star in the WNBA, you have to be like the prettiest and the most blah, blah, blah. And that is, it was just such a good point. I thought it was really eye-opening that Courtney Williams said the same thing. Like, I had all these opportunities. When I came into the league, I had long hair and I wore a dress, and I kind of got to the point where I was like, I'm not going to make money now, but I'd rather be who I am. And that was like, it really sucked to read that. Like during a Pride Month kind of thing, during Title IX week, and then fucking Roe versus Wade this week. Sorry to bring that up right now, but it's just like, dog, I love learning about Jonquel Jones.
I think like also that like as these black women, that plays into it as well. Like it's just a lot to process, and it was really frustrating. I felt their frustration.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Ooh, I feel like I just got really overwhelmed by that. And just I feel like that echoes into kind of what we're seeing about Sue and Sylvia this week. Just like the machine part of it, I just keep coming back to. And it's like, we know Jonquel Jones has done nothing to not garner that same attention that these MVPs were. I love that it talked about she should be in the same conversations with these other former young 20-something MVPs. Asia Wilson, who's only 25. Did you know that?
I did not.
Golly. When I saw that she was only 25, I was like, she is accomplished everything. Gold medal, MVP. She hasn't won a WNBA title yet, has she?
No,
that's
not
the only
yet.
thing. That's the only thing. Crushing it.
Hold my beer.
Yeah. Stewie is 27. She's like accomplished all these things. So we hear about those players all the time. We just don't see anything about Jonquel Jones. I keep hating on Uncasville, but I definitely was like, is it Connecticut? And then I was like, no, all we hear about is the Yukon Huskies.
Yeah.
It is. There's just so many, there's like so many cogs that go into like the things that make us not know about Jonquel or why. And really it's just like the visibility. And
yeah. So my criticism of women like, I'm going to say Diana Taurasi, like Sue Bird, this league is overwhelmingly black. You're getting a lot of these opportunities. Why don't you step aside and give that to someone else? Because you want to get your coin. Yeah, sure. But like, you've gotten it. And you also recognize that like you're being pushed more than other people who should be pushed more. Kelsey Plum in this article shared that she blocked WNBA on social media because they were pushing her when she wasn't the face of her team. She wasn't playing that much. She wasn't getting
many minutes.
She wasn't doing anything, and they were using her image. Why? Because she's a straight white woman who's pretty, and she didn't like that. Other white women need to recognize that as well and do something about it. Like Paige Beckers, she accepted an award and stated that. She's gonna have to, in my mind, keep stating that. Like keep bringing attention to this. The fact that you're being pushed because you're a pretty straight white girl, and that's not okay.
Yeah. No, totally. I don't know. It's such a weird thing. I appreciated Jonquel. They asked the question, who's the faces of the league? And she said Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. And I think she's threw Stewie in there too, but it really focused on Sue and Diana. Katie Barnes kind of gave her a look, and she was like, I see the reaction that you have by this, that we're a league that's 85% women of color, and I just listed 2 white women. She's like, but I don't want to take away from their greatness. There just needs to be more seat at the table, period. Those players need to say those things, like Sue and Diana, and like outside of this, the other stuff you're doing, that's good too, but y'all have so much time and space in your WNBA careers that these other players aren't having. And like, we would not grow tired of that, of you like consistently doing this. Some people, although I say we wouldn't, a lot of people lately have been like, what Stewie is doing right now for Brittany Griner is when you're just trying to like save face, like you're just doing it. They're like, Stewie, you're not actually accomplishing anything. And I argue, like, what could she do? Like, she doesn't work for the U.S. government, like using her voice in this way. So that's where I'm like, I can see how some players, like I've seen people dragging Stewie online for that, and that's where I just don't understand, like, where the vitriol for this comes from. In these instances, am like, maybe let's not be mad at like Sue or Diana. Yes, they have the availability to do that, but it's like these machines. But I know I'm able to say, don't be mad at Sue and Diana because of my privilege. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's just this, it's like this multi-layered thing that is like really complex. And at the end of it, like there's just a lot more people y'all need to be bringing here instead of like the 2 or the 6. This article said that they asked a lot of people who are familiar with basketball, who are the people that always get the advertising. And they were like, we basically received 6 names and that's it in a league that has over 140 athletes.
Yeah. I think the machine is the WNBA. I think they are pushing people who they believe to be whatever marketable is. And it reminds me of Black Panther, the movie Black Panther. Hollywood studios were saying, essentially, people aren't going to go see black people. Like, no, that's not marketable. This story isn't any movie with a predominantly black cast, an all black cast, which that movie did not have all black cast. I've never seen a movie that had all black cast. Like I have seen films have completely all 100% white cast. Anyway, Black Panther proved that to be wrong. Like, give a black director, a chance with a great script and cinematography, all that stuff, and they will succeed, right? Give it a chance. Like, give a masculine, gay, black woman a chance to be the face of this league. Let's just see. Let's prove you wrong. Like, take a chance.
Yeah.
Push this athlete who is extremely accomplished and see what happens. Let's just see.
And like fun and personable, and it's not for lack of wanting to be the star. I think that Jonquel is a person that is a MVP that's like, I want this spotlight,
Give
and
it to me.
I'm begging
I'm
for
ready.
it, and it is not even coming to me. Like someone that has accomplished everything in their professional career and is literally asking anyone. I'm really happy that this piece was done by Katie Barnes, by ESPN. Speaking of the machines, ESPN, you're one of these machines, so continue to highlight these other voices. I hope this is like a series they're doing where it's like great players that you may know if you're a fan of the W, but outside of this, like, let's get them talking. And I just like what you said. There's so many opportunities. It's like the Courtney Williams of it all, where she was like, I'm a masculine person with short hair and I just don't get media things. And I'm like, we watch masculine, like, I think, I don't know. It's really frustrating. It's like, why can't we have that? Like, that is so fun. I would love to see Courtney Williams. There's just so many of these people. Why do we only have like 3 voices?
So what we're talking about right now, I feel like, is further depicted in maybe it's ESPN, the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, right? Where they used 5 WNBA players. Everyone had long hair. Yes, there were some gay women in Sue and Stewie. You could have used some more masculine women. Look at the bathing suit choices that they made. Like, Courtney Williams probably isn't wearing that bathing suit. You know what I mean? And so it just gives this perception of, like, it's still pushing this, like, femininity. And I think femininity is more broader than we allow it to be.
Absolutely.
I'm feminine. You're feminine right now. Like,
as well.
so why can't it be, why can't we just broaden femininity to say it's all of these things? And here is someone wearing board shorts, and yep, that's absolutely fine. They look great in the bathing suit. You know
Sick of America today. Really, truly, honestly. No, I'm with you. And as you're saying that, I'm like, God, this is our fucking country. I hate it here. I do. Like, I've been bothered all week that why are women-led sports the only one that do inclusive activities like this? I haven't seen shit coming from MLB this week about Pride Month. They talk about Title IX in the terms of like, and thank goodness it's Sue Bird. I mean, like, really, that's kind of what you hear about it. So, you know, it's like the WNBA is far ahead of every other sport. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say give a pat on the back because it's like you're leading this thing. So like, just do it from the jump. If no one else is really following you, like, it's not as though all these other men's leagues are like, let's use the WNBA as our example, because I don't think they really give a shit. They're already making their money. To me, it's like, if y'all are just going to be the only ones doing it, like, celebrate everyone. Really be that inclusive space instead of like inclusive with a caveat of like, but it's who everyone wants us to show the inclusivity of.
Who we think you want to see. We want to see Jonquel Jones. We want to see Courtney Williams. We want to see more masculine women being their authentic self. We want to see it, so show it.
They're like, y'all gay people, shh, We got you. Sue and Stewie, yeah.
Okay, so let's get into Storm news.
Stews.
Thank you.
Every time. We beat Washington last night. We both picked that game, which is great that we did because we ain't doing too well in the pick'ems this week. It was really awesome to see Elena Deladon play. We haven't seen Washington at all. It was the first time the Storm have faced them. And I just thought it was a really entertaining game. Obviously happy with how we played and that we won. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a big Elena Deladon fan. I like her backstory and just like it was exciting to see her.
Wow, that feels like shade. You like her backstory when that's her injury.
No.
Pun intended.
No, I don't.
I'm kidding.
Wow. No.
I love her backstory and that the story is her back doesn't work.
She left a big school to go to Delaware. That whole origin story kind of deal. That one. We'll go with that one. It hurt my heart a little bit to see, like, she is in her prime, but she is injured. And, like, she just can't. You could see, like, she wants to do what she can't do anymore.
Absolutely.
And that was just like, dang, man. Like, that was hard to see. That was unfortunate to see. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. You mentioned during the game that was the quietest. I think we looked up and she had 20 or 22 points, and you're like, that is the quietest 22 I've ever heard. And it felt like that was the reason. Like watching her play, you can see everything just still looks effortless. Her shot, she just gets it off. There's no stopping it. And she just plays with this ease. But yeah, it doesn't look as, I don't mean the shady. It doesn't look like she is able to enjoy it. It definitely looks like she's playing through some pain.
She's working.
Yeah, Coach Tebow mentioned earlier that we got to actually talk with him. That was super fun. That, excuse me, Coach mentioned that these teams are pretty even on defense and that he thought the bench production was going to be the decider in this game. Turns out it wasn't. It was just 4 Storm starters going off. Three, and then Sue had like a 12-point game.
I think everyone was in double digits except for Gabby, who was busy on defense. So yeah,
she was doing a lot.
She was doing a lot. It just never shows up on the scoreboard, and that's okay.
That's okay.
So yeah, the bench was not. It wasn't that they weren't a factor. They gave us, I think, like 9 points.
For the game, that's it, mama.
I might have counted after like the third quarter or something. I remember being like 2, 9. Someone had 5 and 2 people had 2.
Lena Deladon had 20. Maisha Hines-Allen had 12. Ariel Atkins and Alicia Clark both had 11 for us. Let's see. Jewel Lloyd had a great game. She had 22 points. Sue had 12. Ezzy had 20. And Stewie had filled the stat sheet. She had 19 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. That's pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Storm won 85-71. Bench production. How off was I?
9 points. You're right.
Yeah. So they weren't really a factor. I won't say they weren't a factor, but
it wasn't the difference.
It wasn't the difference. Yeah. So glad to get the win.
Have you looked at the standings? We're looking good.
So where are we in the Western Conference? I'm gonna say second. We should be just after the Aces.
Seattle, Dallas, LA, Phoenix, Minnesota. Yeah, what I really like about this, I mean, Aces are leading at 13-3, and there was a point where we were like, oh my gosh, are we going to get like the 8th or 9th seed? And now we're very firmly in 4th at 11-6. We are only 2.5 games behind first. That feels really great considering I feel like there were stretches of the year where we were like, oh, how's this team going to go? And now we're like, baby, we coming for the main championship gig.
We play Vegas very soon, like next week.
Yeah.
Here.
I can't wait.
In the home state. I'm excited. I'm excited to see, how we match up against the best team in the league right now.
Better get some good sleep the night before. Girls running.
Woo.
Oh, think of the amount of threes that are going to be shot during that game. So much fun. I hope Jewel Lloyd has a game like she did last night.
I'm going to need her. She had 2 bad games, and she had 2 bad games all season. That's what I'm saying.
Facts. Somebody said last night, you came out of your shooting slump. She said, what slump?
She sure did.
I really liked that.
She said, first of all, it's not a slump.
That was so great. I was like, what a competitor. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a slump. I didn't make a basket.
They didn't fall.
They just weren't falling. They was falling last night. That was really great. You know what's not great? Headaches. You know who has headaches? Mercedes
Russell is suffering from, so we uncovered, no, it was told to us, While they were on the road trip, that Mercedes Russell is suffering from migraines, which we both know people who have had migraines, and they're really terrible and feel really, really bad for her that's what's happening. From a business standpoint, from a GM standpoint, she's not helping the team. What do you do? I'm thinking you say, we love you so much, we're so sorry. You understand, right? Like, you're just sitting on the sidelines, sweetie. Like, ooh, so sorry, bye-bye.
Yeah, that
Right?
sounds harsh, but it's like business has to be business, and I think they have given a lot of space for Mercedes to come back with this, but I'm totally with you. I think at the end of the day, you have to look at this as like who's going to produce for our team, and who knows, like they're just not giving us a ton of detail, so she may be back tomorrow for the rest of the season. It doesn't sound like that. I think I'm being swayed by some information we were told from within the WNBA. Okay, we have been told from a very first-hand reliable source that there is some players on this has to happen with every team. Mm-hmm. But this is the example I'm using for why I think Seattle may do this. There's some players on some other teams that were injured overseas. These overseas players were given MRIs. They were given all these things, and the team was like, "Your MRIs came back great. You're ready to play." And the player was like, "I still don't feel well. I'm not recovered from the surgery. I'm gonna have to sit out." Kept sitting out. Eventually, they are just like, "Hey, we really support you. We are trying to be on your team here. But like, if we're looking at this objectively, you look healthy to us and you are telling us you're not and not being able to play. And it's really hard to meet you in the middle. Therefore, we need to move on and we wish you the best. But, and you know, again, we do not have all the details here, but like business is business. And I think that Ezzy played 36 minutes last night, the most minutes she's ever played in her career. And she ain't going to be able to do that every single night. She is really young. Stewie and them last night were like, she's 22. She can play those minutes. I don't know. It's obviously not like we're wishing Mercedes to be cut from the team, but something's going on there and it's getting asked a lot. And you can tell Coach speaks very kindly towards her, but also feels like she's just kind of like, we're giving it time and we're hoping she can come back and we miss her a lot. The team obviously clearly cares for Mercedes.
Absolutely.
And they, from the jump, been like, we really miss her on the court. Mm-hmm. I don't think they want to move on from her.
But I think they need a backup for Ezzy. They need Ezzy to come off the court and it not to go down so dramatically. Another problem is, who do you get? Because I know there's not many people out there with her skill set that can just slide right in, or even Mercedes's. With Mercedes Russell's skill set to just slide in there. You were suggesting that we should get a younger player to help develop. I think that's a great idea. How successful is that going to be? I think it may not be successful, but it will be better than having a person on the bench who can't do anything.
That's so I'm looking at a rookie right now as a pick for a future. Like if you picked up a rookie to bring in, let's use Elise Canane for an example here. They had her on the roster. She didn't make it after the training camps, but and they were like, we didn't have the space to develop a player. We're seeking a championship right now. I feel like the way the cards have been dealt to them this year, they now know pretty distinctly a minimum of 2 to 3 players that will not be back on this team next year. And I think the team's going to look drastically different. I just don't see why you wouldn't reach towards a younger person that could potentially be on your roster for a little bit longer. I don't think at all. I don't think this replacement's going to come in and be like a superstar, but I think they could come in and at least provide you enough help right now and then be someone that you could at least know you may have more long-term, but they also have Mercedes on a really long-term deal. I think they first and foremost want her healthy.
Absolutely.
They do not want to trade her.
No, she's a great asset. Like, she provides a lot of good things.
Tylenol be damned.
Let's end with Fight Me. What do we have today?
Song that includes food. Food that is best food song.
Okay. Do you have your pick?
I have 2. Every time. Okay, I have one. Always like, it's right between these two. Do you have yours?
I do. I feel like it's not a great one. I'm like coming in with a very weak punch here.
I may win my first Fight Me.
I don't know the artist per usual. She's my cherry pie. Go drink of water, so sweet the fries. Tastes so good, make a grown man cry. Sweet cherry pie.
Yeah.
So that's my pick.
When that song is played, what do you think about?
Coyote Ugly.
And what is she doing?
I believe she's on all fours on the bar.
Literally, that is the moment in time that my mind goes to. And there's another scene in this, like, really, my sister and I just loved, like, 90s trashy movies. And there's this one where this, shock.
I'm sorry. I'm shocked that you would call Coyote Ugly 90s trash. First of all, I think it was early aughts amazingness.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know if that was 90s. I'm going,
Okay.
like, past that.
Gotcha.
It was trashed. It's Coyote Ugly. Like, come on. Anywho, great song. Mine's gonna be with the legend Kim Petras, and it's gonna be Coconuts. You can put them in your mouth right now, right now, right now, right now, and it's pride related. I was between that or passion fruit. Neither one of those were great food related. Please comment, like, subscribe with your food ones. Mine also went to Candy Shop by 50 Cent. I'll
like
take you to the candy shop.
When you first proposed this one and you gave that one, I was like, is that his pick? That's a really great one. Candy Shop is a really good one.
Yeah, but we said food, not candy.
We did.
All right, and next week, join us as we fight over our favorite candy songs. I'm just kidding. Would it even be that one?
Tootsie Roll. Just make that
see,
Tootsie
I was going to
Roll.
say there'd be a lot of good candy ones. Maybe we'll come back to candy.
We definitely will come back to candy.
Okay.
For Balance Sports, I'm Jewelz.
I'm Hunter.
As GM and coach, do you ever take off one hat or you're wearing both the whole time?
Sometimes it's hard because, you're always thinking, short term versus long term when you're looking at personnel, you're thinking about, I guess it's, more, we've gone through a situation this year, you're trying to think about the health of our players. And so, it's when you're in the day-to-day grind as a coach, you would like every player to play as every minute as you can, but, I'm looking at the long term, somebody like Elena, for example, has another year after this on her contract. We'd like to get her healthy for longer periods of time. So we've been, very careful as an overall view. That's an organizational view that I clearly have the most say about. But there are times that that's hard to go back and forth with. But I have no choice.